Hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining me on MP Now's channel. My name is Sakira Stevens. I'm a family nurse practitioner, and I'm here today to talk to you about 1099 versus W-2 employment. Just a little bit of background about myself and MP Now. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I've been practicing for about 5 years. If you've been on my website, you'll know a little bit about me. You can visit my website. It's npnowllc.com. That's where I offer a lot of my services. As far as mentoring, I also have like an online course for nurse practitioners there, and you can get to a little bit to know about me there. And if you have any questions or if you need any help with anything, you can always send me a little message on our contact form on there. So that's a little bit about MP Now and what we are there. So thank you for joining my channel. If this is the first time you're here with me, as you know, or if you don't know, I come on every Sunday to just drop a few bits of information regarding the MP world, whether it be clinical things or business things, just bits of information that I think would be very helpful for you as far as if you're a brand new nurse practitioner who's just graduated, or if you're within your first year of clinical practice and you want to navigate a different way, or if you want to pivot in some way. Maybe you want to go more into entrepreneurship, or you want to pivot to a different job or a specialty. On this channel, you'll find just different things that I think are really good and pertinent that I was not taught in school. So that's what I feel like this channel is good to bridge that gap between graduating school and starting your first job, or in your first year of your first job, and just need a little bit more guidance about different things. So today I wanted to come on and talk about W-2 and 1099 work. So when you graduate school, you'll often be considered basically an employee or a contractor. I've seen it go both ways, honestly. So with a lot of traditional jobs, they are W-2 jobs where you and your employer both contribute to taxes, and you also are entitled to benefits such as retirement and things like that. But a 1099 job, you aren't so much entitled to anything but the compensation you're getting. As far as money is concerned, you pay your own taxes as a 1099 employee and whatnot. Um, the 1099 comes from, they both are basic in 1099 and W-2 basically come from the form that you have to submit to the IRS. So both of them are important. So, and it's also very important for you to know which side you are. If you get a paycheck every so often, you get the taxes taken out of your W-2 employee. But if you get a lump sum of money, say $100 per patient that you saw, you get a lump sum and no taxes are taken out, that's a 1099 position. And I'll go over some examples of both. So just make sure that you're classified correctly. And if you're a business owner, or if you plan to do your own work or become your own boss, basically, you're going to want to know which type of employee you would want to hire to do certain things. So let's get into it. Just as a disclaimer, please make sure that you contact your accountant. I'm not an accountant. I do know a little bit of ins and outs of different things, but this is just basically my take on the two. So with the 1099 job, you're basically considered a self-employed contractor and you're not an employee. So you will file a 1099 with the state when you go to file your taxes, and with the government when you go to file your taxes at the end of the year. You're not entitled to any healthcare benefits or PTO or a retirement plan or anything like that. You're basically responsible for paying your own taxes at the end of the year. So you're going to want to make sure you set aside a certain amount of money depending on what your tax bracket is. And of course, that's where your accountant will come in to see how much you should set aside so you don't get hit with a big bill at the end of the year. There's some people that are at 20, 25, 30, 40, 50% tax brackets. You really got to work with your accountant in order to get that number defined for you and to see how you can decrease your tax liability. So they are key when it comes to this area. Another thing about the 1099 is it cuts back on the cost and legal responsibility of the employer. So a lot of companies, they employ a 1099 because they want to basically push all of the responsibility really onto the contractor opposed to them, and they really aren't legally responsible for them in a certain different ways. You really have to contact an attorney to find out the whole ins and outs of that. But from what I understand, that's basically one of the good things about being an employer offering 1099 work. So basically, you're getting paid for a certain amount of time that or a certain period of time until a certain project is done. One of the examples that I would say about in the MP world is the home health assessments. Those are basically, you're paid X amount per visit. 80 to $150, I've seen even. So you're paid 80 to $150 per patient. You get no taxes taken out. That's all your money. You don't have to worry about, you get that full 80 to $150 for that patient visit. One of the things you have to also remember is with the 1099, you're responsible for all your equipment, your tools. You'll have to come with everything in a package. You're the package deal, basically. Your employer doesn't have to provide any of those things for you. I actually did a job for 1099, several of them. I basically did the assessments for a company. I had to buy my own scale. I had to provide my own stethoscope, my own otoscope, my gas and mileage. That all was up to me. I didn't get any type of reimbursement for that. But at the end of the year, like I said, you can work with your accountant and you guys can figure out if you can decrease your tax liability and write off some of that stuff. So make sure you keep good documentation. You have a level of independence when you're a 1099 employee, so you get to go see your patients when you want to. You could change the appointment times. It really depends on the employer or the person. But I know when I worked for this job, I was able to call the patient up and change the appointment time. If it worked better for me a different day, I could do that as long as the work was done. And then if you're a business owner, a lot of if you were to go like on Fiverr, and you wanted to like get a logo made, that's considered like a 1099 contract work. So you're paying someone a set amount of money to do a job, and then that's it. They're not your employee. They get to do that job at their own pace. They do the deliverables when they say they will, and then they get paid after the work is done. So that was just a couple of examples of 1099s. I also know a nurse practitioner who was actually doing primary care for a physician, and he was paying her as a 1099 contract employee. She had benefits with her husband. The whole situation worked out very well, and she was doing primary care every day. And then, so you would have to really speak with your accountant, make sure that's a good fit for you and for the position. As far as being an employer with 1099 employees, you got to be careful because you don't want to classify someone as a 1099 when they actually are an employee, because you'll be responsible for back taxes and paying that employee certain things over from past months or years or however. So you got to make sure you work with your accountant to make sure you're classifying your employees as 1099 contractors appropriately, and that you want to make sure you're being classified as a 1099 appropriately, and you're not getting, gypped in any way. And going to the W-2 employees, which are basically you get a paycheck X amount of time, X amount of every 2 weeks, every week, every month. You get paid an hourly or salary rate. So you are an employee with that company, and you receive your wages, and you also are entitled to benefits. You get health insurance. They may provide you with malpractice insurance, things like that. So you and the employer are responsible for the taxes. So they pay part of the taxes, and you do as well. You're not your own boss in this situation, whereas in the 1099 role, you kind of could be your own boss because you can kind of change things around and, do things at your pace, but you get the job done. You're basically working for somebody else. And you're usually considered to be working with that company for a determined period of time, opposed to with a 1099, it could just be like a week's worth of time that you give them, and then you're done with them. You usually are, you're expected to be work with them for a longer period of time, years even. Um, you're also guaranteed a minimum wage. I think that as a nurse practitioner, our minimum wage should be like $75 an hour, but I'm here in New Jersey, and I think the minimum wage is about $15 an hour. So you're guaranteed a minimum wage with the W-2, and the employer provides everything for you. So say for instance, you're going to do health risk assessments in patients' homes. Well, your employer will provide you with that scale, that blood pressure cuff, otoscope, things like that. And businesses like to do W-2 employees because it adds a level of commitment. Like you're committed to that company in a way. So it basically gives your employer free time. You're working for them, so they have more freedom and more time to do whatever they would like. So on that note, I would like to just, remind you about, entrepreneurship is something that I'm a big advocate for, because it will give you something like that free time, have someone else work for you so that you have that time freed up. You can put systems in order so that way you basically don't have to be there. Everything is on autopilot, and you only have to come when it's required. That's one of the things that I know. One nurse practitioner, they had a big slew of telehealth, big telehealth practice. They hire nurse practitioners in all these states. They have set protocols, and all they do is basically make sure the system is in order and functioning properly. And if there's a problem and it arises, then they'll come in. But other than that, all the other nurse practitioners work for them. So that's a good thing. That I like about being an entrepreneur I advocate for entrepreneurship heavily. So if you are an entrepreneur, you can also employ patients. I'm sorry, you can employ people. You can have 1099 gig workers. There's also something called a professional employee organizations, where you can outsource HR tasks and have someone do those tasks for you. But you still have some control over the day-to-day of those employees. And then there's temp agencies also, if you're looking to hire someone for your business. But just that's basically all I have to say today about the 1099 W-2 work. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment, or you can send me a message on my website. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook at MP Now LLC, as well as make sure that you follow us on Instagram. Same thing, MP Now LLC, and check out my website, mpnowllc.com. So I'll be back on next Sunday. So I hope this was informational to you and helpful. And thanks again. Bye.